Okay, Lindsay. All right, to everyone, it's just after 7. So I'm going to call, I'm going to call the regular council meeting of Tuesday, May 6th, 2025 to order at 7:02 p.m. We'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Indigenous people of the Treaty 7 territory and the Otay-Pimiciwaa Métis Government District 4. We respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada whose presence continue to enrich our community. Okay, item 2.1, April 15th, 2025 agenda. Are there any edits or additions to the agenda? Okay, can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Deputy Mayor.
Make the motion that the May 6, 2025 council agenda be accepted as prepared.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That's motion carried. Item 3.1, April 22nd, 2025 special council meeting minutes. Are there any edits to the minutes? Can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Councillor Lambert.
I'll make the motion that the special meeting minutes be accepted as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Excellent. So we have a delegation tonight. Item 4.1, Community Links yearly update. We have Executive Director Brenda Hume, Community Relations Specialist, Elizabeth, help with the last name. Thank you. And board members Monica Guswell and Claire Spencer. Claire's not here. We'll
You
cross.
said the name perfectly for me because no one ever says it right.
Oh, great. Great, thank you. If you'd like, come on up to the presentation table and you can start whenever you're ready.
I do for live stream, but if you plug it into the pair, you sit okay.
Looks like our circles on the map there are getting closer together.
Good point. Ready? Ready to go? Great. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Brenda Hume. I'm the Executive Director of Community Links, and thank you for the opportunity for us to share an update for you for the last year. And we look forward to any questions you might have. And I want to put out there right away that please come for a visit and a tour of Community Links and see what Community Links is all about. So you're very welcome anytime. And we're open late Thursday nights if that works for folks as well too. Okay.
Do we need to call first?
Just, yeah, call the front and say, hey, Bren, we're coming. So
Sounds good.
we don't need much notice. We're always prepared.
You are.
So what you're seeing up there is a map of the North Rocky View region is the area that we serve. And most of our funding lends to this area, except for our Family Resource Network. So with that, we are serving residents right across Alberta. So if we are providing, for example, or a program online that anybody, say from Grand Prairie or Fort McMurray wants to join in, they're very welcome to join. So most of the family resource networks are very similar across the province. And so it's for people to get connected when they need to. So we're serving Airdrie, Crossfield, the village of Bicycure, town of Irricana, and also the North Rocky View region. So our vision hasn't changed for many, many years. It's still the strong individuals, strong families, and strong communities. With our mission, we changed a couple of years ago, because we really felt that resiliency was part of what we wanted to ensure that we were inspiring for the families and children and individuals that we serve. So, and hope seemed to be coming up for a lot of our community members, that when community members come in to the agency, there's a lot of anxiety for them. They may not have a lot of hope for what they can be supported with. So we want to make sure that hope is part of our mission. So inspiring hope, supporting that healthy development, and strengthening well-being and resiliency by connecting individuals and families with supports and resources in our communities. And for Community Lakes, we've been around since 1982, so over 40 years. So we're old.
Well, Community Links is old.
Good point. So it began with Energy Family Services in 1982, and that started the original Family Day Home program. So at that point, we were maybe 10 or 11 Family Day homes, but now we're sitting at 54 educator homes that are connected with the agency and over 300 children. So it's an amazing program. And then in 2001, the Resource Center started. So that was a project initiated by the Children's Services for a lot of information referral for community. And then in 2008, there was an opportunity, because we were already a partner with the Parent Link Center, which at that time was what the provincial government highlighted as an opportunity to support families as a Parent Link Center. So we amalgamated the two agencies, and it took us 3 years to formulate Community Links with all the legalities and policy and procedures. And you guys probably know from different activities that you go through with your moving forward. And in 2020, with the change of government, we have become a family resource network as well that I spoke about. So we are the hub. So the hub is the bricks and mortar of the agency, and we connect families and children, not individuals, but children and families, to various supports, and to a hub, to a spoke, which we are already a spoke as well for caregiver capacity. And then our partner spokes are Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and Closer to Home. So our core services include the ones that you're seeing up on the screen: counseling services. So we want to make sure that our services are barrier-free as much as possible. So our first counseling session is free, and that's an hour long, and for folks to come forward after an intake to see what's all going on for their presenting issues, and they get to see a counselor. And then from then on, they can continue with short-term counseling, or they can go into longer-term counseling. So with our corporate funding, we can go up to 7 sessions. And if things need more support, we definitely would do that. And it's based on the sliding scale. So even if it's $5 is all somebody can afford, we make sure that that person gets supported. So there's no barrier of that. And we can also meet online or on the phone or in person for sure. And we provide in-person counseling here at Murdoch School. And we do lots of groups and workshops and different presenting issues. Our grief and loss is huge, unfortunately, but it's great that people are coming forward with that as well. And we're seeing a lot more middle-aged men come forward for support. So we are very, very grateful that they are stepping forward for support. And community engagement, this is an opportunity for us to be in the community and be involved in activities that maybe each of the communities might be involved in, or ones that we can create as well. So just making sure that we're connecting in any which way that we can, coming into the schools, and we do our volunteer services through there. Lots of partnerships. I think we have over 150 partners right now and collaborations, and every day it grows. And did we talk about the app? Is it on there?
No.
Okay. So we are finding that working with our partners that sometimes we don't have the most updated information. So with the support of some funding, we created an app for Community Links. And that way we can connect people right to the website where our partners are. saying if it was, example, seniors trying to get into our benefits and things, so we can take them straight to that page so they're not having to circle around and try and navigate all of that, which is very difficult. So that's a big thing for us last year. And our Family Resource Services is providing that parent caregiver education support, a lot of parenting programming. It's amazing to see, if you're coming for tours, to see all the families that come together right from birth up to 6 years old. And the parents connect with one another, not only in the programs, but outside of the programs. And I've heard parents bartering afterwards. So if you can do some childcare, I know my husband can work on the car, or and it's a really great way for especially new parents to our areas that may not have a lot of extended support to get connected that way. And they learn about their children's development, and we can also do a survey to see if there's anything that's going on with their development. And if there is, we can do referrals to Alberta Health Services for speech therapy or nutrition or things like that. We do get Alberta Health Services to come in and do presentations as well. Even if there's signs of postpartum for the families, and we got support from our counselors. So we try and make sure that our services are really rounded and holistic, so that if somebody comes in, that they're connected all throughout the agency. The support services mainly where folks come in first off, and that's through an intake and assessment. So a person may come in, they are taken to an intake room, and we listen to hear what all is needed. And it might be that they're only coming in for housing, or their houselessness, or they're just having a hard day, or they lost their job, or looking for a job, or whatever. So it's just a matter of chatting with them, seeing what all their strengths are, what their supports are, what their connections are, and trying to get them connected to as much as we can, not only to the community, but from what we can provide, plus our referrals. So again, it's a well-rounded support system. A big part of what we do with Community Links is basic needs support. So we have a lot of folks that are coming in that are financially strained. Housing is a huge presenting issue. And so we are able to support them through a small emergency fund, for example. So if they come and they ran out of their medication, we can help folks get connected for a prescription. Or somebody comes in and they need a pair of new boots to get a job, then we can help them get a new pair of boots. We can help with transportation, say if they needed to go into Calgary for a job interview or something like that, or medical appointment. So it really varies, but again, we're just exploring what's all going on for those folks. Senior services is a big support that we provide, and with all the benefits that we do, connecting everybody, that's a big part, and Elizabeth will elaborate a bit more on that. And we do a lot of presentation for seniors on what they need for education. So it could be, you know, what's a scam, how to protect themselves from all of that. So a lot of education around there. And groups and workshops, again, based on the presenting needs that we see, we try and gear our support that way. We have a popular Women Supporting Women. That's for women who are going through family violence. And then we provide the free childcare for the women that are joining our program. Yeah, it really varies. Like on our website would show you all the different programs and groups and workshops. And so I encourage you to go to our website as much as you want to find out about us.
This is just pictures of our Airdrie office space. This is where we provide the bulk of our programs and services. We're open Monday to Wednesday, 8:30 and Fridays 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. and on Thursdays we're actually open late until 8 p.m. to accommodate those working schedules, and then we're closed daily at lunch. But all Crossville residents are welcome to access support at the Airdrie office at any time by coming in person or calling in. We pulled together some information of top presenting issues for Crossfield residents in 2024. So I thought that'd be interesting data to bring to the table today. Need for assessment. We provide an assessment whenever someone comes through intake. It's a comprehensive assessment of the overall social picture for an individual or a family in order to best pinpoint the areas they need for support, assistance with forms, especially applications for pensions, applications for subsidies, applications for housing, or various benefits they might be eligible for, emotional needs, information on related issues they're presenting, parent, family, and individual support, problem-solving support, income tax, which is a big piece of our work that I will get to in a little bit, fostering skill development, referrals, and resources and brochures. Oftentimes we compare ourselves to an in-person local 211 service, meaning that we are able to help individuals navigate resources in their local community. So these presented issues very much tie into that kind of support that we're able to provide. In terms of cross-field support, our two main pillars of service are information and referral program and our counseling services. This has been the case for several years now. The counseling services provide counseling support at WG Murdoch at the present time, and they're also working on providing more community support. I know the counseling team is working on a wellness event that's actually taking place this Thursday. There's lots of information on our website if those of you are interested in attending or referring someone to attend. They're looking at alternative ways to address mental wellness outside of counseling. So I think they're going to do a sound bath and various alternative methods to cope with mental health. And so that's going to be happening this Thursday. And their information and referral program, again, they've been looking for ways to reach more individuals in Crossfield. Historically, we've come on the same day every month and at the library and had people come to us. And now we've decided in order to reach more individuals, we are actually pairing up with our family resource team who comes to Crossfield once a month to provide a group. And so our community support worker comes on site when there's already people at the library in order to make those connections more easily. And we're able to have more touch points with that process. Additionally, we have, I'm sure you've seen around, offered more tax clinics at various times as well, because that's a service that's accessed quite frequent. The tax program is really important to highlight because I think it's one of our most accessed services within the time frame of tax season. We provide barrier-free, so cost-free income tax filing through the volunteer income tax program through CRA for individuals who are eligible through income-based parameters. And what's important to note is that this service is actually offered year-round. So I know it's heavier during tax season, but just know that individuals can come to us for support any time of year. Of course, there's criteria. We do more simple tax filings, and the more complex issues we're not able to process, but we can refer you to those who can. The reason we highlight this program so much is that not filing your taxes is a huge barrier to accessing programs and services that could improve your overall well-being and financial situation. So we want to make sure that all individuals who need to access additional programs have filed their taxes, because that's the only way we can get them the supports they need. So we just want to highlight this. If you know anyone that is a barrier for them in accessing supports, that's something we can help with. The next slide is something really exciting, and I will have Brenda chat about a new project we are embarking on for the agents.
So we've been really noticing, as I mentioned before, that basic needs is skyrocketing. The need for support, for sure. And so we are embarking on a thrift store where we can expand our services, especially with a focus on basic needs support. So that could be clothing, navigating all kinds of supports for housing and financial support, all of that. So we just feel that that's a real growing gap in our community that we want to address. And so we will have a community support worker work out of this building, the thrift store. And the thrift store is another initiative that the board and Community Links have taken on to increase financial stability of Community Links. It's important for Community Links to have that sustainable alternate funding so that we can meet the growing needs that our other funders don't possibly support. So we want to make sure that we're providing that holistic support for the community. And what we want to do in the future is community helping community. So once revenue starts, then we want to also give back to the community. So giving a free swim for community members, or a free bowling, or a free movie night, or as well as anybody fleeing family violence that need to get set up in a new place, we will set them up with furniture and household goods so that they can get a good start. And having a gathering place for folks to come and just be with us and be with others as a community to feel supported is very important to us as well. So this thrift store will be in Airdrie, just below the 40th overpass. It's called the South Point Village area. It's a brand new build. We will be the first agency in that area. And our hope is to have a soft opening in July 2nd, somewhere in there. And it's an initiative that is totally supported by the board, if you want to speak to that piece.
No, it's been a journey of love, I think. And, to Brenda's point, we've circled around avenues that we can, seek to provide additional revenue sources. Obviously, funding for any agency in the nonprofit world is a struggle. And one that actually speaks to the community and we can give back. So we talk it around, and we have an overabundance of lockers filled to the rim right now, ready to literally fill the store. And we're not even open yet. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, so it'll be household furniture and household goods. We're not
Not
doing
clothes.
clothing. Yeah, because we feel that we're filling a gap in our area. And we already feel that Salvation Army does a great job and Value Village does a great job with the clothing. So we feel that we have a good
This was
way
a
of,
gap.
yeah, good way of partnering. And yeah, so I'm doing referrals back and forth to the other thrift stores as well. And yeah, we started building last Friday. So we're very excited about that. And we've hired a volunteer coordinator, started yesterday, and a thrift store manager. So we'll be looking for volunteers, up to 40 volunteers, and a couple new other staff as well to get the store off and running. So we're excited.
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
I think you guys can keep going. If we have questions, we'll ask them at the end, if that's all right.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, speaking of money, we want to share just a bit of an overview of our 25-26 budget. And I'll just kind of highlight, where those buckets of money kind of sit. You can see the big pie chart there, but 47% comes from government funding. That's the two biggest pieces of the pie is government funding and user fees. And our user fees encompass the Family Day Home, which is a huge program for us, and counseling fees, as Brenda kind of alluded to a little bit. So 38% come from user fees itself. Donations and fundraising, which Elizabeth has done incredible work to build our fundraising pool, 6.75%. Contracts is a 0.21%, United Way 2.21%, and then just other gives us about 0.23%. And then our budget for community treasures is that's going to support 7%, just a little over 7% of our 6,000,067. So it's a hefty budget. However, we continue to grow in the entire community we serve. I think our average for Crossfield is 136 individuals. We're pretty stable in that area. However, the more programs that we can now provide and services to these individuals, is really important to us. The reach for their needs is critical. And, every day we see the impact. You see the impact. We see the impact of the programs we have, whether it's, vital resources that Brenda mentioned, seniors staying connected, which is a huge issue for all of us and our parents and such, or youth finding belonging in their communities. So, for us, we believe in the strong, inclusive, and very resilient communities, and as I'm sure you do as well. and hoping those goals kind of align with the council's vision. And we're so proud to partner with you and your communities to achieve these goals with us. So your municipal funding as well as other areas we receive are not just helpful, but they're a foundation for us and vital to us. And without it, we can't deliver the scope of services or programs that our community members rely on desperately. So, your support helps us to unlock other resources and grants and community partnerships as a kind of domino effect, and shares and kind of highlights our stability and shared investment in building our strong communities around all of it. So we are here, this incredible team, Brenda and her team at Community Links, and I'm here kind of standing up for our board. Sadly, this is my last term of my 6 years in the board. I'm the outgoing chair, but you can rest assured that there is incredible strength behind, the powerful team that is working to, support your community. So our commitment to you is working alongside with you. That hasn't stopped, and we're always ready to be transparent with you and accountable and collaborative. And we're here to thank you again and again and again for your support.
Yes, thank you. And if you know anybody that wants to be a board member,
Yeah.
we are looking.
I mean, I keep looking at you, Steve, so I don't know. Excellent. Great presentation. Thank you. Brenda, I've known you since 2009,
Mm-hmm.
and we've done some cool things together, and we've had some fun, and
Yes.
I just am in awe with all the work that you and Community Links does and how many people you support all the time. And it should be us thanking you because
thank you.
you're surveying really 130-ish people from Crossfield currently, and every little bit helps for them, that's for sure. And it's nice that they have a place to go.
Thank
So
you.
thank you. Questions for Community Links?
Is there?
Councillor Knight.
Just curious, your music and Messy Play and your Messy Play in Air Canada, those two programs, they seem to be pretty successful from what I've heard from people in communities. Has that ever been looked on or tried in Crossfield? I find it's really amplified the information and the knowledge about Community Links in those two towns. I'm just curious. I know if you were to talk to people in town, they don't really know a whole lot of Community Links about them in our town. I think we can do a better job advertising, even from us and all the residents in town.
Mhm.
Just curious if that's ever been looked at or thought about in being in our town.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've tried a few times through the church. We've had some times there. We've been
Okay.
doing some groups there. And I think it's possibly an opportunity for a partnership with MOPS. So just making sure that we're not competing with the times that they offer that program as well. So there's work there to do for sure. Absolutely.
Okay. thank you.
We definitely want to be out here more. And yeah, hearing from you inspires me to go back and say, get going.
Thank-
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? There's none. Well, anyway, we're really proud of you guys, and we appreciate your support here. And thanks for the amazing presentation once again. And if any of the council ever wants to go visit
Yeah.
Community Links, I encourage you to do so. It's an amazing facility, and they have some really great staff.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Soon enough, you'll be able to come to Community Treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Keep an eye out
With a truckload.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And thanks for your comments and questions. Appreciate that. Keep them coming.
All right, you guys
Keep
have
'em
a
coming.
great night. Thank you.
Okay, you too. Stay out of the wind.
Yeah.
Just Monica,
Yes.
just one last thing.
Yes.
Thanks for your 6 years. I know
I-
it was
I don't-
probably a lot of fun.
Hiatus. Shouldn't say that. It's a sad moment because it's like my second.
Well, I'm sure you can be involved in other ways.
On
They were just looking for volunteers.
We'll find a job there.
All right. See ya. Okay. Any discussion from council on that? Can I get a motion?
Chair,
Councillor Brennan,
community links update be accepted as a
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That's motion carried. Which brings us to the public hearing, item 5.1, bylaw 2025-05 Vista Crossing Phase 5, redesignation. Steve Altina, Director of Infrastructure and Community Growth. And just before you get started, Steve, I want to do just a little bit of a preamble so that everybody understands the public hearing. Okay, welcome everyone. The public hearing is held in accordance with section 216.4 of the Municipal Government Act. We ask that everyone turn their cell phones off and all questions and comments be made through the chair when called upon. The public may speak in support or opposition of the application, and everyone who is so desires will have the opportunity to be heard, and it will be done in orderly fashion as directed by the chair. And we ask individuals who have submitted a letter only address council on new and repetitious information not contained in letters previously submitted, as your letters have already been shared with council. Each presenter, when called upon, will take their place at the presenter's table, state their name for the record, indicate as to whether you're speaking on behalf or for another person or a group. And those speaking on behalf of themselves will have 5 minutes to speak, and we will ask that you do not repeat points that have already been made. And those speaking on behalf of a group of 3 or more will have 10 minutes to speak. You'll be prompted by the mayor when you have 1 minute remaining of your speaking time, with assistance from the CAO to give me a nudge when that happens. As per council procedural bylaw 2025-06, all letters received in support and opposition during the written submission period that has been shared through administration with respect to this application has been compiled and included in the agenda package. And as per the council procedure bylaw 2025-06, everyone in attendance during the public hearing must remain seated. No applause, and just be respectful with the proceedings, please. Okay, the purpose of the public hearing is to provide an opportunity for members of the public to speak to council on proposed planning and development matters. Public hearings are formal hearings that must follow rules set by the provincial and local legislation and allow the public to present their views to council on the items contained within the public hearing agenda. The purpose is not for council to discuss and debate the bylaw, but to listen to the public's views. After the close of the public hearing, council may debate the proposed bylaw or resolution in a regular or special council meeting and may A, pass the bylaw or resolution, or B, make an amendment to the bylaw or resolution it considers necessary and proceed to pass it without further advertisement or hearing, or defeat the bylaw or resolution. Okay, so I will call to order the public hearing. Okay, great. So Steve, if you would like, you can present at any time.
Great, thanks, Mayor Harris. Good evening, Council. Steve Altina, Director of Infrastructure and Community Growth, here to present item 5.1 for Council's consideration tonight. Starts on page 20 of your package. The intent is this presentation will also serve as a presentation for item 6.1 to follow, which is deliberations on the bylaw itself. Purpose of this report is for Council to assess again, bylaw 2025-05, which concerns the redesignation of a portion of Southwest 35-28-5 west of the 5th from Urban Reserve District to Residential Single Detached Medium Lot District, Residential Single Detached Small Partial District, and Municipal and Institutional District. The purpose is redesignation covering 6.482 hectares, approximately 16.017 acres, would facilitate development of 92 residential lots and 3 municipal lots for green space and stormwater management. Vista Crossing Phase 5 itself will consist of 99 residential lots, 7 of which are on previously redesignated lands. For context, the subject lands are located within the central portion of the Vista Crossing Area Structure Plan, as shown on the image behind me. The ASP was approved in 2015 and amended in 2024. The ASP provides a land use and servicing framework and policies to support residential development within the quarter section. Subject lands are currently zoned Urban Reserve District to protect the land from urban uses from premature, to protect the land for urban uses from premature subdivision and development, which may prejudice or compromise future urban development. A limited range of rural and recreational uses may be supported in urban reserve zone lands. In the image behind me, the redesignation area is shown within the pink bounding box. Vista Crossing Phase 5 is proposed to consist of 99 residential lots, including 51 residential single detached medium parcel district lots and 48 residential single detached small parcel district lots. In addition, 3 municipal and institutional district lots will be created, again for green space and stormwater management. Of the 48 proposed R1C lots, 7 lots are on lands that were redesignated previously. This development will bring the total number of residential lots to 416 for the overall Vista Crossing development. Application was circulated to other agencies, including Rocky View County, Alberta Transportation Economic Corridors, Alberta Environment and Protected Areas, Rocky View Schools, ATCO, Fortis, TELUS, as well as internal town departments. Comments were received from Rocky View County, and the county was satisfied with the town's responses. The application was also circulated to adjacent landowners from July 30th, 2024 to August 26th, 2024. In accordance with the Municipal Government Act, no responses were received during this period. The town accepted written submissions in favor or opposition of the application during the public hearing notice period. 2 letters of opposition were received and are included in attachment C in the report and as part of your package. The proposed development aligns with the policies of the Rocky View Cross Village Municipal Development Plan, the Town Municipal Development Plan, the Vista Crossing ASP, and the Town Land Use Bylaw, except in one case. Policy 6.2G of the Vista Crossing ASP states that approval of land use redesignation will confirm that sanitary capacity is available for the redesignation area. The town's treated effluent storage cell has reached capacity, and the town is currently unable to dispose of additional treated effluent to support the development. The development areas and densities are presented in the table as shown. Proposed density of Phase 5 and of Vista Crossing overall remains aligned with Policy 7.5.3 of the Town Municipal Development Plan, which states that subdivisions within new ASPs will achieve a maximum of 6 dwelling units per acre. The redesignation will support parcel sizes that conform with the land use bylaw, specifically with Figure 3 regarding irregular lots. It's important to note that there is a discrepancy for measurement of irregular lots in the land use bylaw between Figure 3 and Section 1.6.2 of the land use bylaw. However, the town has historically previously followed the calculation method shown in Figure 3. Proposed lots are in conform with Figure 3. Considering the policy misalignment within the ASP on sanitary capacity, administration does recommend that the confirmation of sanitary capacity be deferred to subdivision in this case based on the following rationale. The proposed development is compliant in all other policy areas. The redesignation of subdivision applications have been held by administration since 2024 due to sanitary capacity issues. And this development would hold a high position in the queue to receive sanitary capacity allocation once capacity is increased. And a second public hearing cannot be held under the new provincial rules implemented in late 2024. Delaying a decision until sanitary capacity improvements are made may take a year or more, creating significant separation from the public hearing and decision. With that, administration recommends for the bylaw that council directs that the sanitary capacity confirmation be deferred to subdivision, contrary to policy 6.2G of the Vista Crossing Area Structure Plan. That bylaw 2025-05 be given second reading, and that bylaw 2025-05 be given third and final reading. With that, I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Director Altina. Questions from council? Councilor Gustafson, go ahead.
Through the chair. Thanks, Steve. Just a clarification on the recommendation. Why the recommendation to move forward to subdivision? Just to really clarify that. Like, are we worried about the time lapse if we don't approve? Is that the problem?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Gustafson, again, the proposed development plan in all other policy areas, the sanitary capacity issue is out of the hands of the developer, is in the hands of the town. This development, is fairly high up in the queue. It was applied for back last summer. So as we bring sanitary capacity on, this development will be pretty much first in line to receive that sanitary capacity as it's brought on. So I think in the administration feels like, in the spirit of working with the developers, worked with the administration in good faith to bring this forward, that our recommendation would be to approve the redesignation and have the public hearing today, and defer that sanitary capacity check to subdivision.
Any other questions?
No.
Any, Councillor Knight?
Through the chair. Steve, in regards to compliancy 4.1.e, 10% municipal reserve, it's noted that we're at 19%. What percentage of that usable MR? Like, I'm assuming a large chunk of that 19% is the water drainage. Do we happen to actually know what that percentage of usable MR is in this 5 stages?
Through the chair to Councillor Knight, thank you for the question. So the 19.8% is focused on MR, so that looks to be likely a linear pathway and then open space. That doesn't include the stormwater portion of that. MR is typically calculated on development as a whole. So again, that's specific just to this phase. So this phase may be a little more over dedicated on MR than other phases. So when we calculate MR, we basically keep a running tally of MR dedication over the whole quarter section for an ASP such as this. So some phases will have more and some will have less. So it's this number specific to this phase. I could pull up the numbers, for the overall development, but I believe they are a little bit over dedicated on the 10% right now with MR. So
That's perfect. That was just a question some people had asked me about what that was. Second, regarding the compliancy 3.3.5, vehicle and pedestrian points shall align existing roads and pathways. Are there any concerns, or is there any extension where Night Ave will actually extend into here? Like, I know we're adding more vehicles and more traffic. The residents that do live there right now, that live up on Night Ave, there's only one path in and one path out. Is there, in part of this conjunction of where we're going, there was no concerns about the pathways in and pathways out for vehicles?
through the mayor to Councillor Knight, your question specific to Night Avenue?
Well, Night Ave is the second access out of there, right? Night Ave
Mm.
converts quite a long way, and now we're gonna add another 70, whatever the lots are on the top part of this box. And there still isn't, there's only the one way up into the whole street area there. I just was there's no concern from our staff side of this that there will be any issues with Night Ave not extending for right now.
Right. Thank you for the clarification. So Night Ave will extend eventually, as you'll see in the ASP. We're about 416 lots right now. I believe Night Ave is currently the emergency access for the area. Under the City of Calgary fire access standards, once you reach 600 lots, you have to have that second public access. So that is something we definitely keep tabs on. And we do follow the City of Calgary standards on fire and emergency access.
So right now, that Night Ave is an emergency access in and out?
I believe so.
Okay. I'd only be concerned about that as there's large boulders and
Mhm.
abilities of blocking traffic
Yeah.
in and out of.
The applicant can perhaps clarify for
Okay.
you during their presentation.
And I think, just for clarification too, I think those large boulders were put there for a reason too, because we were having a lot of construction traffic go through there, and we wanted to limit what could go through and not go through.
As long as there's a path through for emergency, my check marks are reached.
Excellent. Okay, any further questions for Director Altina? Okay, thanks, Steve. There's no further questions for you, and then we'll bring up the applicant and shoot all the hard questions his way. Thanks, Clark.
Excellent.
Whenever you're ready, you can get started.
Very good. Good evening, Mayor Harris. Good evening, Council.
Hello to CAO Barney and hello to our friends in administration. My name is Clark Piata. I'm Dream's Senior Manager of Development, responsible for Vista Crossing here in beautiful Crossfield. I am speaking both as the applicant and in favor of the application tonight. I do want to thank Steve and administration. Administration has been very forthright. They've been honest, professional, communicative. I've been told to be patient. I don't know how many times. Certainly, Stephen Kinza know that I've been persistent looking for updates. But this administration truly does have what's best for Crossfield at heart, and they should be lauded for that. We do appreciate administration's recommendation, and we do agree that the application adheres to all of the overarching policy. Of course, acknowledging the sanitary servicing challenges that are before us. From a practical standpoint, there are many, many approvals that are needed before houses can be built. Land use is certainly closer to the start of that process than it is to the end. There is, again, from a practical standpoint as well, strong demand for housing in Crossfield. It's a beautiful town. Lots of people want to live here. We're eager to invest in the town, and frankly, we are pretty much out of lots. And we are looking to continue our investment in the town so that more people have the opportunity to live and experience this great town. The reason that we're asking for land use to be granted today is quite simple. It's so that Dream and the town are in the best position to respond as quickly as possible to bring that much needed housing on as soon as this council deems it appropriate to do so. I don't have a formal presentation planned. I'm happy to take any questions, and Mayor Harris, if you will, perhaps I'll start off by just elaborating on Steve's response to Councillor Knight.
I would say that would be okay. Thanks.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, Steve's absolutely correct. The National Fire Protection Guidelines do require single public access for up to 99 lots, a single public access plus an emergency access for between 100 and 599 lots. Once you get up to 600 lots, your requirement is to have 2 public accesses and an emergency access. Knight Avenue does act as the emergency access into Vista Crossing. You are correct. There's been a number of different configurations of that access. Currently, it's been semi-blocked off by a chain. That was at the request of the fire department because of, frankly, vehicles accessing accessing via the neighborhood next door. The fire department does have the required equipment to open that chain and get in whenever they need to. Like I said, we have gone through a number of different configurations on that access, including having it wide open, having barricades there, having the chain and posts in different locations. This configuration is the current configuration that that we moved it to satisfy the town's request. But certainly as things change, I don't know that this would be the final configuration of it. And of course, as Steve pointed out, once an application comes before council, that would bring the development above the 600 lot threshold. Of course, a second public access into Vista Crossing would be required.
Thank you. Ready for questions?
Yeah. Yes, Mayor Harris, I'm ready for questions.
All right. Any questions for Clark today? Wow. Look at that.
Okay.
Get me off the hook tonight.
Lucky me.
Lucky you.
Very good.
All right.
Through the chair.
Councillor Gustafson.
I know this is probably not at this stage here, won't be until subdivision, but when will be the access to Range Road 12 be added?
Very good. Through your worship to Councillor Gustafson, the access to Range Road 12, I do believe, is part of Phase 9.
Okay, so just to clarify this, that all of the construction traffic will be going through the existing Vista Development. Is that correct?
There are multiple ways to get in. It would, Councillor Gustafson, depend on what type of equipment is coming in there. Some of it come off-road, some of it would come through the community. Yes, but you are correct. That would be something that would be dealt with through the development agreement after subdivision had been approved.
Okay.
Okay, anything else for Clark? And thanks, Clark.
Thank you.
Uh, No one? Okay. Lindsay, no one signed in at the front? Okay. But I still have to ask, right? Okay, thank you. Do we have any online? Just what was submitted? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna make a call for anybody who wants to speak that is signed in as per the registry in favor of the application. And Clark already did that in his presentation. Is there anyone else present who wishes to speak in favor for a second time? And anyone else who is in favor for a third time? Okay, and do we have any other questions from council to the presenters in support during this? Oh, we're good there. So moving on to 4 submissions from the public in opposition who have signed in to the registry up front. I'll make a second call for anyone else present who wishes to speak in favor for a second time. Oh, that should be against. Yes. Anyone who wants to speak against for a second time? And anyone else present? Have you registered? Oh, you wrote a letter, yeah. Yeah. Director Altina.
To the mayor, I believe the resident or would be permitted to speak. It's meant not be repetitive to what's in your letter, but
But any additional questions?
yeah, any additional questions?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
good.
great. And then if you just want to come up front here and just state your full name.
Full name is Ken Teal. I live at 1725 Mossop Avenue. We've been residents here for 28 years. After hearing the presentations, if we're this close to our sanitary capacity, I'm thinking, would it not be wise to expand that first before we pursue any further development?
Okay, I'm going to direct you over to Director Altina for the answer to that question.
Through the chair to Mr. Teal, I get as presented in administration's presentation, we've recommended to council to defer that to subdivision stage. As the applicant pointed out, there's still a number of permitting stages that are required prior to actually getting houses out there. Considering, of course, the housing crunch that's ongoing and the need for additional housing in town, administration's assessment that the application meets all other applicable policies. That administration has been holding this application since July 2024, and that this application would be, essentially first in line to receive that additional capacity. Administration's recommendation to council has been that this redesignation could be approved and that servicing confirmation would occur at subdivision. So essentially, we would hold it at subdivision until, or we'd recommend holding it at subdivision until the servicing capacity was available. So lots wouldn't be created yet. This is simply doing a land redesignation and moving that process out of the way so that we can move quickly once servicing capacities increased in the town.
Okay, then are we looking at, say, a 2-year program? So we're looking at approving this next subdivision, but we're also waiting for grants or funding or something from the province to help us with our sewage issues here in town. So what kind of a time frame are we
So,
looking at?
so there's two things. I think one, this first step here is just a redesignation of the land.
Right,
So no houses are going to be built
okay,
on the land until they bring the phase forward. And we won't do that until we have the wastewater issue fixed. And so as far as timing, I'll direct you over to Director Altina again.
Thank you, Mary Harris. Through the chair to Mr. Teal. On the timing, this is a issue that administration is working very hard on. We would hope to see movement on the sanitary capacity, initiating a capital project to improve that within the next year, so starting next construction season. Certainly, at that point, if the subdivision could be supported, perhaps it would be supported in 2026. The infrastructure was still to be built for the subdivision. You would see homes, later after that, right? So we're still a ways away from getting homes actually out there, but this kind of clears the first kind of hurdle in that process, in that approval process.
so we're looking at a window of 2026 to 2027 to be realistic.
It's through the mayor to Mr. Teal, likely to be realistic, yes.
My next question would be, has the town council here sat down with other town councils such as Carstairs or Didsbury to see how they are approaching development as far as types of development, as specifically in lot sizes and what sells best?
To answer that question, I don't know if we've really sat down with other counselors like all together,
Yeah.
but we do have these conversations with other towns at different points in time. For example, I'm part of a mayor's caucus, and we do have some of those conversations. I know that many of our counselors here have talked to other councils. We do have some processes right now, and we have had many conversations with developers saying, look, we're not Calgary, we're not Airdrie.
Right.
We do want to make some adjustments in further planning documents so that we can make some of those adjustments, maybe larger road sizes or the look and feel of what we want for Crossfield, so that we don't end up being at a small town like we are now, like Airdrie or Calgary.
Okay. My next question would be, as you have those conversations, and I'm representing a group that is a little more established, has a few more dollars behind them, and who have come from a rural setting, but want to move into town.
Yeah.
But still would prefer a bigger yard. And that's been a conversation with a few of us. And as you look at a town of Carstairs, such as Scottsdale Estates, and then you look at Didsbury, where they've developed many acreages basically on the west edge of their town, which is also part of their town. And some of these parcels are an acre to an acre and a half. And it gives people the opportunity to build a 4,000 square foot home, a decent sized shop. If you want to park RVs and other toys, you have that space. If you want to have some solar panels set on the ground versus having it on your roofs, you have that option. Greenhouse, that kind of thing. And it would be catering to people who are coming, who are retiring from the farm, or who have had occupations in the oil and gas industry, management, that are looking at something that just gives them a little more elbow space, but still has that utilities and support from the town.
So yeah, just a little bit of a transition from a farm or a larger acreage into town living.
Coming from a hobby farm, for example.
Yeah.
And moving down to something a little smaller, but still have a decent sized yard.
I want one too.
Well, that's, yeah, but there's a couple of us that'll talk about it.
Okay. Well, maybe if I can suggest, we do have a few developers in town. I would reach out to them and talk to them and see what can be done or what limits there might be. And I think they're all open to those conversations.
Okay.
I see the head nod at the back. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And thanks for coming in. I appreciate you voicing your concerns. And look at that. You did it in less than your allotted time. Okay, and then I'll ask again if there's anyone else present who wishes to speak against for a third and final time. Okay, it looks like there's no one. Did council have any questions to the member who just presented? No? Okay. And then the applicant has an opportunity to do rebuttal on any of the submissions if you like, Clerk. You're okay? Thank you. All right, final question period. Does council have any final questions for either the applicant or our staff? If not,
Through the chair.
yeah, Councillor Gustafson, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm always at the. Just
I should
collect-
a
collect-
few seconds longer.
Yeah, it's just a few seconds longer. This one is to Steve here. You had mentioned that you had reviewed everything that the county had sent in, or the county was happy with everything you sent in. Is that including the stormwater management plan? Did we have a stormwater management plan for this phase?
Yeah, through the mayor to Councilor Josephson, absolutely. We chatted with the county. They're satisfied on all our responses. We have a staged master drainage report for the entire development and then a phase 5 specific stormwater management plan.
Okay, and then the second was a traffic impact assessment as well. Did we do one?
There's one for the area structure plan. It wasn't updated at this phase because densities and things haven't changed. So we usually update those, and as per the ASP, we update them when we see changes coming forward. So there was no concerns from administration or Rocky View on the TIA side.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That's it.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. We will close the public hearing at 8:05 and move on to item 6.1. Bylaw 2025-05 Vista Crossing Phase 5 redesignation. Steve Altina, Director of Infrastructure and Community Growth.
Thank you to the mayor. I don't have an additional presentation from what was presented with the public hearing, so that we ask council to consider the bylaw 2025-01. As always, available for any questions should you have through that deliberation process.
Okay. Does council have any questions at all before we move to motions? Okay, as this is just a redesignation of land. And we're not moving forward with any phase or commitments there. I'm going to be in favor for the motions. And then we'll have further discussion once the phases and whatnot come forward. Okay. Can I get a motion, please?
Through the chair,
Counselor Knight.
I motion that council direct the sanitary capacity confirmation be deferred to subdivision contrary to policy 6.2 G of the Vista Crossing ASP.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. And second motion,
The chair,
Counselor Brennan.
move that Vista Crossing Phase 5 redesignation be given second reading.
Okay, any discussion, questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carried. Any discussion? Anybody want to speak in why they're voting in favor or why they're opposed to the motions? Here's your chance.
It's just land redesignation at the time, so. Sorry, through the chair.
Okay. And a third and final reading. Okay.
Through the chair.
What, hang on, just one
Okay.
second.
I make the motion that we proceed to third reading with unanimous consent.
Yes. Okay. All in favor? Okay, and opposed. And we don't have unanimous consent, so we have to push it off to the next meeting. Do you wanna,
Hold
you
on.
don't want,
Over here.
Lindsay?
Through the chair, you do not need unanimous consent unless you're doing all three readings at the same time. So because first reading was given at the previous council meeting, you're only giving it second and third reading. So it would just be given third and final reading.
Okay, so would we have to retract that motion and
Yes.
redo? Okay.
Yep, take the unanimous consent vote of the motion.
Counselor Lambert? That's okay.
Retract your-
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I will retract that. I'm sorry. I thought we had done first reading.
We did first reading already, like,
No, but I meant tonight.
oh, yeah,
Sorry.
okay. So you'll retract that and then we'll
Yes,
vote on it?
yes.
Okay, all in favor? For retracting the motion? Okay, opposed? For retracting
Oh,
the,
retracting, yeah.
yeah, okay, great. And then would you like to remake that motion, Counselor?
I'll make the motion that we have third and final reading.
Okay, all in favor? And opposed, and that's motion carried. Thanks for the clarification, Lindsay. Sometimes we need a little guidance up here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, some exciting stuff coming up now. Item 7.1, Crossfield and District Recreation Board funding recommendation for the bike skills pump track. Director Russ Nash, Community and Protective Services.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. Good evening, council. Yes, so before you have a report on Recreation Board funding recommendation for support of the bike skills pump track. The purpose of the report is to bring this funding recommendation forward to council for approval from the Crossfield and District Recreation Board, or also referred to as the Recreation Board throughout the report. The funding recommendation is for $75,000 from the Recreation Board's reserve in support of the town's bike skills pump track project. So just as some background information, the Crossfield and District Recreation Board does receive funds to grant out for recreational and cultural based facilities, projects, programs that benefit the community. The funds for this come from the town of Crossfield operating budget, supported by recreation funding received from Rocky View County. Currently, the total annual budget allotted to the Recreation Board is $60,000. The Recreation Board holds 2 funding meetings each year, one in the spring at the end of March and one in the fall being at the end of October. Over the past number of years, the Crossfield and District Recreation Board has accumulated a reserve from funds that weren't granted out for various reasons, these being a lack of applications, insufficient information provided in applications, or ineligible applications, etc. The current board has discussed their desire to ensure these funds are put back into the community in a meaningful and responsible way, including supporting larger recreational projects that require significant funding. At the March 31st, 2025 funding meeting, town administration presented a proposal to the Recreation Board to help support the development of the Bike Skills Pump Track facility in the amount of $75,000. This would help ensure adequate funding for this facility and potentially allow the addition of more features, such as more obstacles or the potential of paving the facility instead of having dirt. Following that presentation, the Recreation Board made the following motion, moved by Jaden Bax that the Crossfield Recreation Board allot $75,000 to the Bike Skills Pump Track project pending its approval. Should council accept this funding recommendation, the Crossfield and District Recreation Board will still have approximately $31,000 remaining in their reserve. And again, during that March 31st meeting, the board reiterated their desire to get those remaining funds back out into the community. Economic impact of this facility is that it will help attract new residents to our growing community, which thereby contribute to the success of our local small businesses and organizations. Social impact, the Bike Skills Pump Track facility will provide an additional recreational opportunity for residents of all ages and skill levels to use at a low cost. Also provide an opportunity for community members to be physically active and enjoy the outdoors. A noted risk for reducing the funding for the project could result in a smaller facility and fewer amenities and features. Communications and engagement. The community was consulted regarding the development of this facility at an open house held at the community hall on March 26th, as well as through an online survey that was available from March 20th to April 4th. Total of 151 people provided input through these two engagement opportunities. And further to that, recommendations for funding from the Recreation Board are also brought forward for council's consideration and approval at a public council meeting. Financial implications. This funding is from a reserve account from the Crossfield and District Recreation Board, thus it will not have an impact on current town budgets. It will also enable an administration to maximize the use of the existing funds allocated for this project in the 2025 capital budget. An alternative, actually, sorry, I'm going to go back to our recommendation here. So the recommendation from administration is that council accept the Crossfield and District Recreation Board's recommendation to fund the Bike Skills Pump Track project in the amount of $75,000. Alternatively, council may choose to deny the recommended allocation of funding, which would result in the Recreation Board's reserve account to remain at approximately $106,000. With that, I'm available for questions for council.
Excellent. Thanks, Director Nash. Questions for Director Nash? Okay, if there's no questions or discussion, can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Councillor Guff, go ahead.
I'll move that council accept the Crossfield and District Recreation Board recommendation to fund the Bike Skills / Pump Track project in the amount of $75,000.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
That's motion carried. Thank you, Director Nash. Oh, look, it's the rush show again. So item 7.2, bike park and pump track location report from Director Nash again.
Thank you, Mayor Harris and council. So before you is a report on the Bike Skills Pump Track location. So going to council's previous direction on this project at the February 18th, 2025 regular council meeting, council made the following motion: that council direct administration to move forward with public and stakeholder engagement for input on locating the new Bike Skills Pump Track facility at either Murdoch Park or Ball Diamond 4, and that administration bring results of the public and stakeholder engagement back to a future council meeting. So following that council meeting, administration did coordinate public engagement activities to seek feedback on several items. These items including a desired location for the bike skills pump track facility, suggestions for features and skill level, and other important factors that should be considered for this amenity. So things like maintenance, vandalism, ability to expand, etc. Public engagement activities included an open house, as mentioned previously, on March 26th, in conjunction with the Municipal Development Plan and Amory Park Community Gardens, as well as an online survey that was conducted from March 20th to April 4th. The suggested locations for this facility included 2 areas around Ball Diamond 4, one on the west side, one on the north side, and then an area in the northwest corner of Murdoch Park. Full results of the public engagement are attached to this report for your review, but notable highlights included 51% of respondents were somewhat familiar with bike skills parks and pump tracks, so they've heard of them before, while 39% of respondents were very familiar, being that they've used them before. 53% of respondents, or 79 of 148 responses for that question, selected Murdoch Park as their preferred location for the bike skills pump track facility. It is of note, though, there was also 9 comments provided with suggestions for alternate locations to the 3 provided in the survey. Top 3 features or skill levels identified were benches for seating and beginner friendly, as well as intermediate advanced track options. And lastly, the maintenance and upkeep, safety, and ability to expand were the top 3 other important factors to consider for this facility. Following a decision on the location for the bike skills pump track facility, the next steps for this project will be, number 1, if the Murdoch Park location is selected, we will consult with Alberta Environment and Protected Areas, to confirm any necessary requirements or conditions for the wetland that's located just to the west. I'll get into that in a little bit here. We will also consult further with other stakeholders who may be impacted by the placement of this facility to implement solutions to mitigate concerns. So all 3 locations have the potential to impact some user groups. Administration did have a conversation with the soccer group, especially around Murdoch Park, because that's their main area. The soccer group doesn't have a concern necessarily with the location of the park, or the facility if it is located in Murdoch Park. Their concerns are more if we move or have to move to a new location for 1 or 2 of their fields, that they have the ability to store equipment in those areas. So that can be easily mitigated by some planning with administration. And then they also had a concern with the potential of the bike users maybe using the soccer fields for their bicycles and stuff, and potentially wrecking that. And so we do have ways that we can mitigate that as well, either through natural barriers like trees and shrubs, or through fencing or something like that. So we can work on that as well. So through my conversation with the soccer group, they sounded positive with it, as long as we're willing to work with them, which absolutely we are. So just wanted to make note of that. Following all of that, we will post a request for proposal to design the park and provide a cost estimate for construction. Once a design is chosen, a request for quotes for the construction of the park will be issued. And following selection of the contractor, we'd begin construction on the park with an anticipated opening in the spring or summer of 2026. That's kind of the timelines we're looking at there. As noted, there could be some consideration for environmental impact if the facility is located in Murdoch Park. There is a wetland to the west of the park in the undeveloped area. Specifically, there was a comment in the survey that specifically noted noise and garbage concerns with that wetland, but we also want to make sure from Alberta Environment and Protected Areas, or EPA, what our requirements or conditions would be to work around that. Administration does not anticipate concerns because Murdoch Park is not a naturalized area anymore. It's a park. It's groomed, it's manicured, has facilities in it already. But we do want to make sure that we engage with EPA to make sure that we do follow any conditions or requirements that they might have. Contractors would also be required to have a container on site for appropriate disposal of all construction waste. As you are aware, the area is already used as a public park and sports field space, which inherently does come with noise and garbage concerns. So recognizing that the facility will likely increase utilization of the park, administration would ensure that additional garbage bins are included with the development of the facility. Administration did provide some benefits and risks to each location. I'll maybe just highlight some of the more some of the bigger benefits and risks for each location. So with Murdoch Park, it is within close proximity to the pathway system, making it easier for users, especially youth, to access the facility. The area does have less vehicular traffic, which minimizes concerns and conflict with vehicles. And there is lots of room for expansion if desired. Some risks with Murdoch Park, obviously, as I've noted, there potential conflict with the Soccer Association, as they do use Murdoch Park currently as their main area for their soccer pitches. And as noted as well from the Soccer Association, that there could be conflict between the two different types of users being in close proximity. There have been some concerns raised in the past with some vandalism especially on the shed that is owned by the Soccer Association there, but we would try and look for ways to mitigate that if necessary. With the McCaskill Park locations, the benefits, a more notable benefit for both of those is there are some natural elevation changes within those locations, so they require a little less groundwork if they were picked there. Some notable risks for the McCaskill Park location number 1. So that would be the location west of the Ball Diamond, where the parking lot is. It may require relocation of the parking lot, depending on the size and design that goes in there. So that's not ideal. We would look to move that to the north side of the Ball Diamond, but then that does put the parking lot further away from the other facilities that are in McCaskill Park. It is also noted that minor baseball has expressed interest in developing a batting cage, and that area is a potential area that could also be used for that facility. Also of note is the area around McCaskill Park. Vehicular traffic has increased due to the development of Iron Landing. So that does create a bit of a risk and issue with people trying to access and or use the facility. Also with McCaskill Park, currently there are no pathways through that park or leading to the location from the majority of town. So if traveling by bicycle, sidewalks and roadways would have to be used. And there is limited room for expansion for both of those. And then one more notable risk with the second McCaskill Park location, so that would be north of the Ball Diamond, is that depending on the design and area required, access to the diamond may be impacted for emergency services or town maintenance operations, or for the groups to access the diamonds, because that's where the maintenance gates are located. And then also errant baseballs from the Ball Diamond could impact users of the park. So another notable additional risk with possibly proceeding with one of these 3 locations is just the opportunity to work with the developer and potentially finding an alternate location within their developments that we could maybe put this facility that would have fewer impacts to other organizations. Also working with the developer may also provide an opportunity to share costs for the development of the park. So just wanted to make sure I noted that to council as well. As noted, communications and engagement, we have had community engagement we had provided 2 opportunities to the community. Also, depending on the location selected, direct communication will take place with the appropriate stakeholders or users who may be impacted by the development. And ongoing communication for the project will be provided through updates to council as the project progresses. Financial implications, as council is aware, in the 2025 capital budget, $100,000 has been allocated to this project. And as was just approved, we do have $75,000 that has been funded through the Crossfield and District Recreation Board. So we have $175,000 currently for this project. So with that, Administration's recommendation is that of the 3 locations put forth from the February 18th, 2025 council meeting, consideration should be given to developing the bike skills pump track facility in Murdoch Park. This location provides room for future expansion, is in a visible area, has less vehicular traffic, and is in close proximity to the pathway system. Administration did, however, also note several comments from the public engagement opportunities related to finding alternate locations, many of which were due to conflicts with other user groups who currently utilize these spaces. So we have had discussions with those groups, so I believe administration does believe we can mitigate those concerns. But I also wanted to note that it may be beneficial for council to consider other opportunities in other developments, and it may be a discussion that council would maybe want to entertain tonight or not. I'd wanted to put it out there for council to talk about. Should council decide to proceed with one of the 3 locations put forth from the February 18th council meeting, administration recommends the following motion: that council direct administration to move forward with the development of the bike skills pump track facility in Murdoch Park, contingent upon any necessary approvals from Alberta Environment and Protected Areas related to the wetland located to the west of the park.
Great.
That's my presentation.
Thanks, Director Nash. Pretty exciting that we can give something to the community. I think that's excellent. Questions for Director Nash? Councillor Brennan.
Thanks, Russ. There's a lot of good information on that presentation. Community engagement, there's obviously a lot of work put into that. I don't know if I got no issue. I think Murdoch is a great spot for it personally. Just curious, when I think about the park, the only tricky part about it is access for construction equipment to get in there. Is it too early to ask if there's any plans for access with those vehicles? Because it seems like the pathways will be the only option in and out or across the green space. No, maybe it's too early to ask that now, but
Through the chair to Councillor Brennan. Likely we would put construction access from Murdoch Street, actually. We can there is that pole fence there, but we can remove a section of that to allow an access point through there so we don't have to impact the pathway system. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Who's here?
Councillor Knight.
Yeah, Russ, you also mentioned in here as one of the spots potentially would be that north of Veterans. Is there any value in us when we go to set this for an RFP to give this as a design to 2 different areas where we see 2 different proposals, like giving you guys approval to request an RFP in the 2 different areas? I'm just wondering if there's any value in that, of what pros and cons that might make it too much of a left and a right thing. I'm just curious if there's any value of us having 2 different proposals brought to council when the RFP goes out.
Through the chair to Councillor Knight. One of the issues or items that would have to be considered is that area north of Veterans Park is still owned by Creation Communities. So there would be some negotiation that would have to take place there, which can be done, but it would take some time. And
that's okay. That answers my question.
Yeah.
I was just thinking out loud what it was. I didn't consider that. So no, I'm fully in board with the Murdoch Park. I think it fits great. It should be good. So
Any other questions? Great. I don't have any questions. I'm in support of the park. I'm just curious if we could put some lighting in as part of the RFP when you go out. I think that location is a little more out of the way than a couple of the other locations, and a little lighting might help mitigate some of the vandalism. And then on just a thought on the soccer storage. If soccer wanted to, we have found in many other municipalities and whatnot, if they have it painted or artwork on it or wrapped, it mitigates a lot of that vandalism and graffiti and that type of thing. So just a thought, if soccer wanted to move forward with something like that, or if we wanted to, as a town, move forward with, if we have sea cans or other storage areas, that they are maybe wrapped or decorated in artwork in some sort of way to, mitigate that. And, it also makes it look a little better.
Yeah, for sure. No.
Yeah.
Mayor Harris, thank you. That's a very good suggestion.
Yes. Yep, that's all I had. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Who would like to make a motion?
The chair.
Deputy Mayor.
I'll make the motion that council direct administration to move forward with the development of the bike skills / bump track facility in Murdoch Park, contingent upon any necessary approvals from Alberta Environment and protective areas related to the wetland located to the west of the park.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions before we vote on the motion? Sorry, Russ, I did have one more thing.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
If thought can be put into, if we pave some of it or all of it, and I'm just thinking about maintenance down the way. If we have an open pump track or bike park and it rains and the bikes go on there, that's a lot of maintenance.
It is.
If it's paved, then that lessens the maintenance and that track might last a little longer. And I know that there was some comments, but it was 1 and 1 for pavement and 4 not for pavement. But maybe take that into consideration, talk to the experts and see what the best way to go is.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mayor Harris.
All right. So motions on the floor, all in favor.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, item 7.3, Emery Park Community Garden Report, Director Nash.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. So yes, Emery Park Community Garden, some background information on this. Administration, start where I should be. In March 2021, the town entered into a 5-year agreement, which expires on February 28th, 2026. Entered into an agreement with the Crossfield Agricultural Society for operation of the community garden in Emery Park. However, in February of this year, administration received notice from the Ag Society that they are unable to continue managing and maintaining the amenity due to a lack of volunteers, and they've returned it back to the town. In 2024, the Ag Society noted they had 6 people rent plots for the season at the Emery Park Community Gardens. Some people rented multiple spaces, however, numerous plots did remain unused for the season. The cost to rent the plots was $25 per plot for the season. It's unclear whether the low utilization of the garden was due to a lack of promotion or if the demand is low because there are other options for community gardens in and around town, those being at the Rocky View Lodge and the Baptist Church. Typical maintenance required for the community gardens includes weeding of walkways, weeding of unrented plots, and general repairs as necessary to garden boxes, fences, the pergola, etc. Herbicides cannot be used to control weeds in or around the garden due to the risk of killing or contaminating the user's plants, so manual weeding is performed. So in response to this change, administration felt it was valid to and beneficial to go to the community for feedback on the use of this space. So we did include it as well in the March 26th open house, as well as with an online survey from March 20th to April 4th. One of the questions in the survey provided 3 options for the future use of the community gardens and asked respondents to rank them in order of their top to lowest choice. Those 3 options were remove the garden and convert it into grass or a soccer pitch, keep the pergola and create a sitting or meeting space with trees and flowers, or 3, to keep the gardens as a community garden and managed by the town or another organization. Again, full results of the public engagement are attached to this report, but some notable highlights included 66% of respondents stated they never visit or use the Emery Park Community Gardens. 18% of respondents noted they visit or use the community gardens frequently, so that would be weekly or more. 45% of respondents ranked to keep the garden as it is and managed by the town or another organization as their top choice, while 36% of respondents listed to keep the pergola and create a meeting or sitting space as their top choice. 25% of respondents indicated they would be willing to help with management or operations if it does remain as a community garden, and 17 individuals provided their contact information for volunteering. So we do have a list of potential volunteers if it is kept that way. Economic impact. If kept as a community garden, the facility will offer residents the opportunity to provide themselves with fresh produce at a lower cost, assisting with the rising cost of food. Social impacts. So if it is kept as a community garden, some social impacts may include participants having the opportunity to learn a valuable life skill in gardening. It does provide an opportunity for residents to socialize and create friendships with people who have similar interests, and it provides a low-cost option to help address food security issues. Social impacts, if it's turned into a sitting area, it does provide a gathering space for community members to meet and interact with each other while enjoying the outdoors in a relatively quiet setting. And social impacts, if the amenity is turned into a green space for other use or sports fields, is it does open up the space for our growing youth sports, providing additional opportunity for physical activity and creating friendships through sport, and also provides an opportunity for parents to make new friendships through their children's activities. Risks. So some risks if this amenity remains as a community garden. It does create increased work for staff to maintain the facility, monitor volunteer work, and administer plot rentals and promote the facility to the community. Another risk could be a lack of support from volunteers, despite the fact that they put their name forward. And the demand may remain low for plot rentals, which could result in an increased upkeep of unrented garden boxes. Risks, if it is turned into a sitting area, is the utilization of the area may be low. And the space may not be used as intended. So, for example, it may become a play space where kids jump and climb on things that they're not supposed to be. And then a risk, if it is turned into space for other users, including sports fields, is it may not be used as a soccer pitch, depending on demand from the soccer association. And if it is utilized as a sports field, it will increase the use of the park, impacting neighboring residents. Some communications and engagement, as I mentioned, we did have those two opportunities for the public to engage. Regardless of the decision, communication will take place with the residents who have expressed interest in renting plots for 2025 to inform them of the direction for the amenity. If the community garden remains, individuals who have provided their information will be contacted to confirm their interest in volunteering with maintenance and operation of the facility. This assistance will be vitally important in moving forward with this option. And if the community garden remains, administration will communicate with the community through our social media newsletters to promote the garden in an attempt to increase usership. Some financial implications are listed there for you. Overall, all three options are relatively reasonable, the most being the financial implications to convert it into green space for other uses, because we would be looking to sod and we'd have a lot more dirt and remediation to do there. So recommendation, administration recommends that Amory Park Community Gardens be retained on a trial basis for the 2025 season, provided that community members and or garden users are willing to assist with the regular maintenance duties. So with the weeding, watering, empty plot maintenance. Sorry, that didn't make sense to me for a second. So maintenance of the empty plots if there are any. Administration will also promote the garden to the community in an effort to increase utilization of the facility. Following the 2025 season, administration can provide a summary to council with a recommendation for moving forward. With that, administration recommends the following motions: that council direct administration to retain the Amory Park Community Gardens on a trial basis for 2025, provided that a volunteer group of community members and or garden users can be assembled to assist with regular maintenance duties of the plot, and that the fees for the community garden be set at $25 per plot, and that council direct administration to bring the fees and rates bylaw back to the May 20th, 2025 council meeting with updates reflecting the addition of the Amory Park Community Gardens fee.
Thanks, Director Nash. Any questions? I'm just curious, people can have multiple lots as long as they maintain them. It doesn't matter. There's no limit.
There's no limit, Correct.
great.
Sorry, to the chair, no limit. They would just pay $25 for each of those plots.
Okay, and then, I'm just curious if we have empty plots there. I wonder if we can put maybe some plywood on top or something so that the weeds don't grow, or do something instead of just, I guess, depending on volunteers to do that.
Right, to the chair. We actually had some conversation around that as well. And one option we could also look at, it will require some upkeep and maintenance, but maybe looking at putting in some wildflower mixes or something
Sure.
like that kind of dress it up, make it look nice. Again, provided we have some volunteers that can help us with
Great.
that.
Well, that's perfect. Thank you. All right, if there's no further discussion, who would like to make a motion?
Through the chair.
Counselor Knight.
I motion the council direct administration to retain the Amory Park Community Gardens on a trial basis for 2025, provided that a volunteer group of community members and or garden users can be assembled to assist with regular maintenance duties of the facility, and that the fees for the community garden be set to $25 per plot.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Sorry, to the
One more. We have one more motion. Yeah. And who would like to make the next motion?
Through the chair.
Deputy Mayor.
I'll make the motion that council direct administration to bring the fees and rates bylaw back to the May 20th, 2025 council meeting with updates reflecting the addition of the Amory Park Community Gardens fee.
Okay, any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks, Director Nash.
He's running.
Okay, item 7.4, 2025 municipal election required resolutions. Lindsay Nash, Manager of Legislative Services. Legislation and Administrative Services.
Good evening, council. Yes, as Mayor Harris had noted, I'm here to request council's approval on some key motions to support the 2025 municipal election process, including the appointment of a returning officer and substitute returning officer, authorization of institutional voting locations, and the cancellation of the October 21st, 2025 regular council meeting. Under the Local Authorities Election Act, sections 13.1 and 13.2.1, municipalities must appoint a returning officer and a substitute returning officer by June 30th of the election year. I'm recommending myself as the returning officer due to my many years of election experience, including oversight of over 7 previous municipal elections in Crossfield. Jessica Oldenberger, a new member to administration, will serve as my substitute returning officer, and will be gaining on-hands experience through this electoral process. For the institutional voting, as per section 81 of the Act, council may authorize voting stations at institutionals such as care homes and hospitals. The town is proposing to continue our longstanding practice of offering institutional voting on election day at the Rocky Lodge and Dr. Williams Manor to ensure accessible voting for all residents. We typically do an hour at each, so we will be at the Rocky Lodge usually from 10 to 11, and then move to the Dr. Williams Manor from 11 till 12, and then return to the community hall to continue continue at the hall. The institutional voting supports equitable participation and can enhance overall voter turnout. And regarding the cancellation of the regular council meeting October 21st, this falls the day after the election and before the official results are declared, and results become official 4 days past the election. So it is recommended that the October 21st council meeting be canceled to align with the election timeline. Administration is recommending the following 3 motions: that Lindsay Nash be appointed as a returning officer for the 2025 municipal elections, and Jessica Oldenberger be appointed as a substitute returning officer for the 2025 municipal election. And that an institutional vote for the 2025 municipal election be held at the Rockview Lodge and Dr. Williams Manor on election day on October 20th, 2025. And that council cancel the October 21st regular council meeting due to the 2025 municipal elections on October 20th. We will be communicating the elections throughout our town's social media, social platforms, including the monthly e-newsletter. We continue to update the town's social media, including the website and we'll continue to do it through the election process. There are no financial implications with the recommended resolutions within the 2025 operational budget. An elections budget line was included to cover costs associated with running the municipal elections, including election salaries and supplies. And that is my report, available for any questions.
Thank you, Manager Nash. Questions? So just so everyone knows, the process has changed. We're not using electronic voting machines
Yes.
this year and for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So it could take a little longer for those counts to be counted and then recounted. And
Yes, through the chair. In the past, we have always hand counted our ballots.
okay.
Yes, we've never had an electronic tabulator, anything like that. It's all done manually.
So what you're saying is you should be quicker this year because you've already done it in the past.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Actually, the last election was quite easy because you guys all got in by acclamation. So it was, we just had to do the provincial ones.
Well,
So-
let's hope that doesn't happen again and we have some really good people step
Yeah.
up and want to
Yeah.
do the job too.
Yeah. Yeah, the process has changed too, where you are, we do ask voters to be registered,
Mhm.
because we do have to have a voter registry that all voters have to be on. So we are promoting that. There was a mail out that will be put in the actual taxation notices this year outlining the new process and that. So will be coming out this week sometime. So
And we'll do that maybe a couple of times
Yes, for
before
sure.
the election so everybody's aware of it.
Yep.
Okay, great. Is there any other changes that residents might need to be aware of?
that's the main one. Yeah, they don't come in and sign the piece of paper. They give us their name and we upload it onto our little system we have.
Okay,
So, yep.
really good. Thank you. Any other questions for Manager Nash? No. Okay, who'd like to make a motion?
Through the chair,
Councillor Lambert.
I'll make the motion that Lindsay Nash be appointed as returning officer for the 2025 municipal election and Jessica Olenberg be appointed as the substitute returning officer for the 2025 municipal election.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
That's motion carried. Okay, second motion. Who'd like to make that? Councillor Brennan.
Move that institutional vote 2025 municipal election be held at the Rockview Lodge and Dr. William Manor, on election day, October 20th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. I like that practice of
Mhm.
making sure that everyone has the ability to go vote, and that makes it really easy for our seniors. So
Yep.
that's fantastic. Any discussion or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. And the third and final motion,
Through the chair,
Deputy Mayor.
make the motion that Tuesday, October 21st, 2025 regular council meeting be canceled due to the 2025 municipal election on Monday, October 20th, 2025.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And motion carried. Okay. Okay, item 8, Councilor's Business. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I've had 2 mayor caucus meetings and 1 executive meeting for the mayor's caucus. In preparing for next week's in-person meeting in Sundre. We're going to have completion of the logo. Our CAO and CFOs from 3 municipalities, including our own, met to discuss a plan of action to request funding from the province. I've attended figure skating awards night on Sunday night. A lot of attendees and a lot of happy skaters getting their awards. I attended the Stars of Crossfield Volunteer Recognition as well. Our administration, Nicole, did a wonderful job, and it keeps getting better and better every year. The video she put together was excellent, and I appreciate all the work that she put into that. And I know that all the attendees did as well. I think this is the first year that I've attended that people actually stayed and chatted afterwards and lingered just a little bit longer, and that was really great to see. Continue with my weekly CAO meetings, and we had a meeting with Minister Dreeshen to talk about the 2 speed limits and the funding for wastewater. I felt it went well. The minister department is completing a couple of speed studies. We'll see what they say and come up with. And then we have until November to submit for funding for wastewater. And then we'll see what the results of that are. Deputy Mayor Fox.
Okay, the only thing that I had was on April 29th, I also attended the FCSS Volunteer Creation Dinner, but in Disbury. I escorted one of their senior volunteers, and I took the opportunity actually to speak with some of the councils from the other municipalities while I was there.
Thank you. Councillor Brennan. Councillor Gustafson.
I attended the Stars of Crossfield. My colleague down there. And
Hey, Councillor Knight.
I attended the ministers' meeting also with Mayor Harris. I thought it was pretty good. Good to be on the radar. Conversations that are like that are pretty good things. So, I also had a meeting with I'm the chair of the Mountain View Water Commission now. So I met with the CAO, did our yearly report, and there was a massive leak between Bowden and Olds, but thankfully we have 2 lines. So the one line that fed the Olds was impacted. We had to put a fairly large repair into that. So we're seeing some poor installation from the 1970s and 80s that have impacted the wear on the line. So we're hopeful with the cathodic protection, we're not going to have any more issues in areas, but you never know. It's 50 years old. So knock on wood, we have less of those. But thankfully the lines twinned. We weren't really impacted down here. It was pretty good. So they did a good job, tied it all together. So that's all.
Thank you. Councillor Lambert.
Nothing to report.
Councillor Vang gives his regrets. As all of you know, his mom, Sylvia Vang, passed away. She was a really big pillar of our community, and I think she'll be missed. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Go ahead.
I make the motion that counselor's business be accepted as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, administrative update, monthly updates. Director Steve Altina. Giving Russ a break. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Mayor Harris. It was actually his turn tonight. So figured we'd give him a break. Monthly administrative update. Steve Altina, Director of Infrastructure Community Growth, here to present the April 2025 monthly administrative update. From Public Works and Infrastructure, F3 Networks and AFL, it says started. They were supposed to start last week, but I don't believe they quite started yet, but they were going to start construction of the high-speed TELUS fiber optic network. They'll be doing the starting location will be in the Harrison Street, Athabasca Crescent area. They'll be working in blocks throughout town. There's 6 different blocks they'll be working throughout town. So keep an eye out for them. The town has hired an asset management and GIS coordinator who started in April, and the work has started to develop an asset management program with the town. The Decatur Great Lighting has been removed from Railway Street. Town staff are now in the process of testing the lights. It's not on your list right now, but I guess just as a follow-up to your meeting with Minister Dreeshen, town staff, the CAO, myself, and our Public Works foreman, Murray Pollock, did meet with the director of the Southern Region, Darren Davidson.
Darren, yeah.
Out on Limit Avenue to look at the drainage issues at Harrison Limit and discuss the speed limits as well, earlier last week on Friday. Upcoming for Public Works, we're working towards issuing all RFPs and RFQs and contracts for the 2025 capital program. We're also starting crack sealing and line painting in the next few weeks as the weather permits. Under planning and development, we're seeing quite a few new applications for new homes. We've received up to 36 applications for new homes as of last week. Upcoming, the MDP is planned to return to council in June for a public hearing, tentatively set for June 17th meeting. Under public safety, the Community Risk Assessment and Fire Services Master Plan contract has been awarded to Bear Integrated Services. This company has an extensive background in emergency management and fire services projects. Upcoming is administration will be participating in an emergency management exercise on May 8th, as I'm sure you're all aware. Along with Rocky View County and the Village of Bicycle, Plastifab and WG Murdoch Schools will also be assisting us with our simulated scenario of a tornado hitting the Crossfield Mobile Estates as well as Plastifab. Under customer service and community engagement, between April 1st and April 30th, 2025, customer service handled 317 citizen service requests. This is a slight decrease from the March service requests. Upcoming is Council eScribe training has been completed. Department Director training is expected to take place in mid-May with a full launch on June 1st, 2025. eGov implementation is nearing completion. Administration anticipates a soft launch on May 12th with a full public launch at the end of May. Administration will ensure a full communication plan will be prepared for residents and business owners regarding the launch of eGov platform and how to access their accounts. Just to re-update council on eGov in general, it's a software module that connects residents with their town accounts after creating an online account with their current town tax or utility account. The eGov module is access to the town's website, and current town account holders can view property information such as past and current taxation notices, utility bills, dog licenses, and business licenses. Additionally, it gives residents the ability to make online payments on their accounts, renew business and animal licenses online. The eGov module is to help improve effectiveness and allow users flexibility to collect information and access their information at any time. Under community services and events, the Amory Park Outdoor Rink Upgrade Project has been awarded to Peregrine Arena Solutions. They are planning to start the upgrades towards the end of May and anticipate having it completed by the end of June. Administration received a donation in the amount of $10,000 from the Artists of Crossfield Theatre Society, ACTS, to be put toward upgrade at the community hall. Big thank you to the ACTS group for this generous donation. This will be put to good use for a future upgrade project at the hall. Our grant application to this Canada Summer Jobs Program was approved in the amount of $23,100 to help support 11 of our summer student positions this year. Under administrative services, administration met with several other municipalities that have formed the Mid-Sized Town Mayor's Caucus to discuss provincial grant funding levels. A follow-up meeting has been scheduled in May to define the infrastructure deficit and to develop a recommended provincial grant funding model. For the election update, administration continues to attend monthly webinars regarding election preparations, including the permanent elector register and municipal data portal. An election information sheet has been placed in the 2025 taxation notices to provide information to residents on the upcoming municipal election in October. The information sheet includes information on how to register for the permanent electors registry spoken by Manager Nash earlier, and how to apply for special ballots and important upcoming dates. Upcoming, administration is planning for the 3rd annual budget survey. The survey will be open to residents and business owners between May 6th and June 9th. Council will have the opportunity to provide feedback on the survey questions prior to posting this survey. Administration is in the process of developing a new quarterly corporate report, which will be presented to council in May. This report aims to replace the quarterly financial update by providing a comprehensive review of the organization's activities each quarter. It will include updates on the strategic plan, capital projects, planning activities, enforcement statistics, procurement efforts, and financial variance reporting. Administration is also continuing its review of policies and bylaws, which includes refreshing the 2003 investment policy, creating new policies for Railway Street sign blades and donations, and updating the public notification bylaw. These updated bylaws and new policies will be presented to council for consideration later in May and June. And that concludes the monthly administrative update. We are available to answer any questions.
You like how he said we?
Because I'm not able to answer all of them.
There you go. All right, any questions? Yeah, I don't have any questions, but you're right. A very big thank you to the artists of Crossfield Theater Society. I don't know if everyone's been to one of their acts, but they write their own acts. They do their own plays, and they are hilarious and amazing. I know you've been, and you've even bartended at some,
I bartended all of them.
but they're excellent. You would almost think it's a professional play. So if you have a chance, you should go and attend and support them. And if you're talking to them, or if any of the counselors are seeing them on the street, give them a thank you. That's really appreciated. That's for sure. All right. I don't have any questions. Great report. Very informative. Thank you. Anyone else? No. All right.
Through the chair,
Deputy Mayor.
I'll make the motion that the monthly administrative update be accepted as presented.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That motion carried. Okay, outstanding list. CEO Barney, you're on the spot.
Thank you, Mary Harris. I have such fantastic staff that there's such a thorough update that there really isn't a whole bunch more for me to say. The outstanding items list, there's no notable changes there. There were some updates provided in relation to the speed limit changes on Limit Avenue. So that one, we anticipate we'll get a response back from the province within the next 2 months. I would note, just as an additional component, that on Thursday, when we are working with Rocky View County and the village of Bicycle, along with other emergency preparedness partners on the emergency management exercise, that the office will be closed in the morning and will reopen at 1 p.m. That is to ensure that all staff who would be relied upon in the event of an emergency have the ability to participate and gain a better understanding of what their role might look like in the event of a real emergency. So just more of an awareness piece for the public as well.
Why does it always have to happen in a trailer court? Just asking. All right, any questions about the outstanding items list? Okay, no questions. How about a motion?
Through the chair,
Counselor Knight,
I move that the outstanding items list be accepted as presented.
all in favor?
Aye.
That's motion carried. And then we have correspondence, 10.1 from the Marigold Library Systems Board update. I'm sure everyone's had a chance to read that, and is there any discussion? There's no discussion. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Counselor Lambert, go ahead.
I'll make the motion that the Marigold Library Systems Board update be accepted for information.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. And who would like to adjourn the meeting? Knight.
Through the chair,
Counselor Knight.
Counselor Knight.
I move that council meeting adjourn at